Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back. We're here live one more time with Generation Prodigies Teen Talk. You're in for a treat on tonight, so grab every teen that you know, middle school, especially high schoolers, and we're here to talk about the joys and pains of school. And so tonight we have a special treat. My dear friend, well, I'm gonna let my host, our teen host, introduce her on tonight, but we would just want to let every teen know out there that we see you. We see you and love you. So tonight we're going to have some good discussion on tonight. But I want to introduce a movement that's taking place in the name of stigma stumping. And we're partnering with them tonight. And we're going to share some clips of some of the things that they have already started in discussion. You can find them on Instagram, Facebook, and they have t-shirts too. They're talking about the struggle because the struggle is truly real, especially with our teens. So parents, hold on to your seatbelts because we asked for some real information on tonight. So here's just a clip just to get us started about stigma stumping and some of the things that the teens are currently dealing with. And then followed by that will be our host on tonight, Miss Jerry Day. So hang on. Here it, and we're going to go right to our clip on tonight.
I think a lot of times in most kids, when it starts to set in, is middle school, because that's when you're getting a lot of the experience, a lot of the, that's when you're setting your foundation. So I think that's when I started to accept that my confidence wasn't going to go up because everyone around me looks, this certain way. And that kind of drove me into presenting myself as the token black kid, anything that could be taken to fit in, because it would be better than feeling left out or anything like that. So if that meant accepting the slurs, the stereotypes, then it was worth it because it's enough to fit in. And then that would, set the stage for then what would become depression and what would become low self-esteem, because it would be, I was keeping myself down without even knowing it. And then I think, I'm not sure, where did the anxiety come from? Genetics?
Could be.
It was just always there. It was just always frantic, or I overthink everything to the gods, or it's hard to sleep, or I can't, I'm fidgeting all the time. It's just, I feel like that's just always been there. Thank you. That was from the get-go. But I think definitely the depression is something that I subconsciously kept digging myself deeper into, because it was a survival tactic to fit in around the environment that I was in.
Majority, what did you think?
I feel like today is going to be a very powerful message for today for all the teens.
Yeah, I agree with you. Well, everybody, here is our beautiful host, Miss Jerry Day. Take it away, Miss Jerry Day.
Well, good evening, everyone. I hope everybody had a great summer, a great Sunday. Hope y'all ate really good. I know I did. It was really good. Well, welcome to Teen Talk with Generation Prodigy. My name is Jerry Day, and I am going to be your Teen Talk host for today. Our host for tonight is our guest mentor, and founder of Stigma Stomping, Miss Deshawn. I'm sorry I got getting your name wrong, but I want to say it as well I can do. I would say Deshawn Radcliffe, maybe. And her daughter, Nikwa. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm bad with names. They will lead our discussion tonight on the joy and pains of school. So let's get started. I would like to invite them onto the live.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. And
How would you pronounce your name?
Deshawn.
Deshawn.
Deshawn is fine. Yes. And my daughter, who's not available just yet, trying to see if she's going to be able to come in. Her name is Nico. Her name is Dominique, but we call her Nico. But I know the spelling, sorry.
I tried. I'm sorry. So what would you like to tell us, or is there anything you can get started with what you want to do?
Sure. Okay. So Stigma stomping was developed basically out of a need to feel like I could do something. I wanted to hopefully try and equip young people to be deterred or not have to go through the type of pain that I saw my daughter go through in middle school. Middle school, things get different because, as younger people trying to discover your identity and trying to see, how you can fit in and all of that kind of stuff. And um, with my daughter, I could see that. I mean, she had gone from this really exciting, outgoing kid to just one who would come home, and now she was just going straight to her room and stuff like that. And knowing things were different, but not really knowing exactly what was going on or how to reach her. That was difficult, extremely difficult as a parent. I like to say I'm a super mom or whatever, but in that space, I couldn't reach my daughter, and that was not acceptable for me. So after watching her for years and also observing other people, I decided to try and come up with something that would hopefully get people to a level of comfort where we can start some difficult conversations.
Yes.
So that was the stigma stomping inspiration. My daughter, and then also my older brother. I lost him last year, and my brother was 56, but he was struggling with anxiety and depression and stuff like that, and we didn't know that that was going on. And I really don't want people to live imprisoned in their mind. And I remember my own battles with depression as well, but I wasn't equipped to say anything about that. And I'm like, this is going, I could just see the range of it. My brother was 56, my baby was in middle school, and there's also seniors too that deal with different things, but we're taught, keep it to yourself. You don't tell everything, just pray about it. It's a phase, all of those things that really just keep us where we feel like we have to handle this all in our own mind, but we don't. We don't. So I want to encourage people to talk about those things. I want to encourage parents and young people, please talk so you could get the help that you need.
Yeah. So what made you do this movement? Like, what motivated you to do this movement?
I decided I wanted to change the world. I want us to look at stigmas differently. If we're saying, okay, well, um, when I was dealing with depression, I called it the dark clouds or the shadows. My daughter could not articulate what was going on. And part of that was because I don't think that she felt safe enough to be able to express that with me, because as a parent and also as a parent and with what I was taught historically, culturally, unfortunately, we weren't taught a lot about sharing those things. When we're suffering with something, we're concerned about how people are going to look at us, what they're going to say about us, if they're going to treat us differently afterwards. And it's not just the friends or strangers that we're concerned. We're afraid to tell the people that love us the most. And so my daughter we didn't teach her, okay, if you're feeling like isolated or you're feeling like low self-esteem or something like that, those things could be contributing to something else, that could be anxiety, that could be depression or whatever. But like I said, we were taught you don't talk about everything. No, keep some things to yourself. Maybe that's puberty. Okay, that's hormones, honey. Okay, well, some things you just can't tell people because all of that stuff, it puts us in a position. It's not a position of empowerment, that's for sure. And so kids at those ages, they're trying to figure out all this stuff on their own and not allowing their parents to know what's going on. And as a parent, when you see that your kid is going through something and you can't offer a solution, you can't offer help to them, and you don't really know what's going on either because they won't tell you because they don't feel like they'll be validated. That's just all bad. It's all bad. So that's what inspired me to try and do something, to try and offer a platform where people can talk and to encourage people, hey, if you have something, let's talk. You might need to get in front of a mental health care worker. And it's okay. Jesus is not going to strike you down because you needed prayer, and it's okay. It's okay. So
Yeah, that's good, because I feel like a lot more people need to hear this for them to open up more.
yeah.
Um, how do you know what to say and when to say like these things? Like if someone's like going through different things, how do you know what to say and when to say for certain people? Because you know how certain people, let's say, I don't know how to explain it, but how certain people get things differently.
Hmm.
Does that make sense? So like how do you know what to say or when to say or how to say it?
So are we talking as a parent or
Um,
a young person?
let's
Because
talk.
as a young person, I'm gonna bounce that back.
Let's say as a parent,
Okay.
or if you're talking to a young adult type something.
Okay. As a parent, when behavior starts changing, that's like drastic. Like this is different. Like she not out here with us. We usually sit at the table. We're talking about how our day went and all that stuff. That was just the regular thing that we did as a family. She's not doing that. When we're talking about going somewhere, she prefer to stay home, and she's staying in her room. She's sitting in the dark for hours at a time. Sometimes you go in there and she's just crying.
Yeah.
She hates going to school, but then she's sitting isolated in her room. It was like at some point you got to figure out, okay, it's something going on here, because the behavior change is a clue that should send off some signals,
Hmm.
and it did, but I still wasn't. And I have to go back to culturally, and also as a church girl, a fourth generation Church of God in Christ. I just was not taught that it's okay to deal with these things. So I didn't look at her as this might be something where she needs to get in front of somebody. So how do I know when something is? How would I say you should know, or when to start asking questions? When you see a big shift in behavior
Hmm.
and availability.
Hmm. Okay, that answers my question a lot. Let's see if we have any. I'm sorry about my voice. I'm not really feeling well, so it's going in and out.
Don't worry about it. I hear you.
Um, I want to bring back Latanya. I'm sorry, Dr. Latanya, to see if she has any questions. I don't think I have any questions. Probably come and go. I don't think any of the comments. Feel free to drop any questions for her. To if you guys need more explanation or anything. Once again, I apologize for my voice.
You're fine. And I should have said thank you, Sister
Thank
Dr.
you. I
Eden,
appreciate
and
it.
thank you for now. Tell me how to say your name correctly.
Jared.
Jared. See,
Yes, ma'am.
so Jared. That's
Yes.
beautiful. I appreciate you guys giving me this opportunity to just tell you a little bit about stigma stomping and to share part of my story. I'm like, where are my manners? I forgot. Sorry.
It's fine. I appreciate you coming to the live and telling teens about what you do and how it can help us. I appreciate it. You're kind of mute. We can't hear you. Yeah.
I keep doing that. I do that every time, and it's so sad. But Journey is a trooper. She's been hanging with us since we kind of like started with this. So she's our teen host, and a lot of our teammates are, very shy when it comes to platforms like this. But we are really grateful, and we see one of our mentors who piped in, Kim. We'll bring her up in a minute. I thought this was a very good topic on tonight because so many teens deal with depression in school. And we did have an episode where we discussed and talked about it's not what you think, because a lot of times, and parents, feel free to chime in and ask any questions that you may, and please share and like, because we want as many things as possible to follow this. And we're going to re-air a lot of these episodes on the sites that they're on, because a lot of times they're not on Facebook. So we, so y'all can check us out on YouTube as well at Generation Prodigy TV. So you can kind of text the team right now and tell them chime in to Generation Prodigy TV, and they can be with us live right now. This is a very crucial topic because a lot of teens talk about it, and I have nieces and nephews, and first thing they say, well, they don't even, my parents don't have a clue, and I'm just like, well, why not? Because they don't share, they don't talk about things. And so it kind of leaves us in the dark as adults and parents. And then sometimes as parents, I'm just gonna keep it real. I'm an advocate for the teens, so of course um, I'm going to advocate for the teens usually. So I'm usually tell the parents, look, this is what's really going on, without sharing their business. And it's like, if you can just chill out and just be an open ear. I remember being a teen, and I used to tell my mom, like, I would bring things to the table, and I guess there were certain trigger words for her, and it's not like she would want to listen. I believe she really wanted to listen, but it just kind of went left all the time. Like, if you ask the question, for example, like, how do you know you're in love? So what you doing? What's going on? It was one of those things, back in the day. But would you say, I'm gonna pose the question for both of you from a teen's perspective and from a parent's perspective. And again, parents, feel free to use the chat box, and we'll, answer any questions that you may have. From a teen and a parent's perspective, do you think that 2021 in particularly, this 21st century group of teenagers, do you think they have even more than we did coming up as teenagers to fight against? One. Two, do you think the parents nowadays are less I don't know if I could say this without it sounding bad, but we don't have the time that parents did back in the day, because when they used to stay at home and things like that, and therefore more irritable. And so when they become more irritable, or they show any level of lack of patience, teens just say, forget it. I won't say anything. What are your thoughts?
Well, me or her?
Both.
Okay, so I'll say 2021. Do I think that there's so much more pressure? I think because of all the access, because they are constantly bombarded by this phone and the computer images, and by everything. YouTube is so much more access, and the things that are being oozed out a lot of times are not positive, are not uplifting, are not nurturing, are not things. There are those as well, but it's so much other. And it seems like just we always gravitate to the negative. What is that? I don't know. But that seems to be a thing that we do. At least I can speak for myself and for the people that I've learned in my couple of days, 52 years. It just seems to be we hold on to the negative stuff more than we do the positive in a lot of cases. And that's what we tend to respond to. So I think that they have a lot more. It's a lot of access, but it's negative. So it kind of boils over into them in a negative way as well. That's what my perception is. As a parent, we try to listen, but so many times we think we have an answer. So we are quick to we want to listen, we do. But when you hear something, it could be a trigger. So you just constantly are quickly dive in to try and give a solution. And they don't always want a solution. Sometimes they just want an ear. Now, me, I was a stay-home mom at the time. So I can't say that it was a lack of patience or whatever that was the issue. But what I can say is I was not taught or brought up to identify these things that I was seeing, or this behavior shift, as something that might mean my daughter needs to sit in front of a mental health care worker, someone who is qualified and equipped to give her tools to deal with this stuff that she's dealing with better than what I can offer her from what I've learned as a parent, learned as a person, and learned in church and learned in my own life. I just was not, it was the puberty hormones, a phase, that stuff that I was carting it off to. But it was that and more. So it was like I missed it.
Jerry, they fight for the teens. We need a teens perspective now. What do you think happens sometimes? This is just on behalf of the
Like,
team.
like happens during like what? Like explain more.
So when there are some challenges that you have to face in school, or just in life, period, and trying to express that to sometimes how teens feel when it's when trying to communicate um, to their parent.
Well, like for me, it's like y'all say that we can go to you guys for like anything, but we feel like you're going to get mad or what we're going to say. And sometimes we just don't want a lecture after what we say. We just want to like get it off our chest and like, make sure it's not inside anymore and make sure you guys know to like build a bond with you. We don't always want like a lecture or always want to get punished for it or anything. Um, with me and my auntie, we have like code words. We have code words to let each other know this is going to have to happen. Brace yourself. It's something bad. Stuff like that. So with us, we have little code to be like, brace yourself. I might get in trouble later, but right now, I just need you to like be there for me, like support me. Because I feel like some teens, we feel like your parents are there to communicate. Well, you don't also feel like you're there to support us. You're there to like lecture us. But I get that like when you guys were children, y'all been through the same thing and y'all trying to prevent us from going there. But some of us is already dealing with it at school, so we're trying to, not saying we want advice, but I just like clear our mind, clear our hearts, and make sure you know what's going on.
Mhm.
That's what's with me. I'm not really a communicator because I'm scared or I'm going to get hurt or I'm going to get in trouble or anything, which I feel like that's what teens are more scared of getting in trouble than trusting their parent. Because I know that parents wants their kid to come to them about anything and they want to protect them and they want to listen to them. But sometimes you guys like we say one thing and then like Deshaun, right?
Yes.
Deshaun. Like Deshaun says, like you guys wants to put your input in like real quick, like real fast. And sometimes we just like she said, we just want a ear to listen to us, to like clear us up, pretty much.
That's good.
That's exactly accurate. I've learned now, but yeah, and I talk to other people now. I can talk to people and be what my daughter needed at that space. It was like at school with the racism, the kids that was very entitled and had all this stuff, that stuff was getting in her head. So all of those different experiences she had contribute to or led her into a place of anxiety and depression and all that stuff. But we didn't talk about anxiety or depression or issues with low self-esteem or insecurity. If it was brought up, not those words, not anxiety and depression, but like low self-esteem or insecurity, we're just going to insert something like, oh, you don't have to worry about that. You got this, like that. You got people around you that love you. Don't worry about them kids. They ain't nothing. But to them, but to the child that's living in that, that's not their reality. So it's like, yeah, we have to listen. We have to
Yeah.
listen better.
Also, I feel like parents think they know, but they really don't know because they're not actually living in it. Or
Mm,
I don't know how to explain that,
that's
but
good.
just how they say, I know I've been through it, but it's different in how y'all were kids and how we're dealing with it now. It's like a whole bunch of change.
Mhm.
So how parents be like, I know you, I understand you, like you really don't because you're not at school with me 8 hours a day dealing with it, or you might know what it is, but you don't know the amount of level that's going on in that school. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but that's what I've been telling my sister, that you can come to me because I understand. I'm in your shoes. I'm a kid. You know, I go to school. I know what this generation is about and I know what's going on. Not saying that you can't go to your parents, but they might not understand as well as I do because they're not at school 8 hours a day every day plus curricular activities because it happens outside of school too. And so as a teenager plays, I feel like since they were teens, it's different from how they was raised and how they did their stuff, but how this generation of teens, how cyberbullying and social bullying and depression and all that stuff is different from how when they was kids. Something like that.
Yeah.
I think you right on. I can't, and as an adult, I have to agree with you 100%. Because when you look at it nowadays, we're the transitional generation. you know, computer, we don't tell ourselves, computers did not come into play until middle school. Right? Shut don't do it. You know, until middle school for us. So I mean, and we was chong chong ching. It was a whole DOS, whole
Oh,
dynamic. So now, I mean, because of the political climate, you don't even want your kids to be too far without something to communicate with. You know, but at the same time, it opens them up. So we have some very good comments in the chat box. I want to just, you know, kind of uh, kind of display them as we go because as we are, yeah, we're not in your shoes, and that's why we have formed Team Talk. So we usually connect in person, but because of the pandemic, we're doing this platform, but it's peer to peer. They're able to have discussions and they can relate to each other and support each other, and to see their development and growth has been has been amazing because they're able to relate to one another and encourage each other, and they tell each other what they need to hear, and they don't bite their tongue. I will say that. So I think that, Jared, you right on, because and for the parents out there, I hope you're really listening to this. Yeah, because we're not there. They're there most of the day. They're in somebody else's care majority of the day, dealing with bullies, dealing with the negative words. And for me, my mom did not know that I had a teacher who was calling me out my name, and the students would take it and run with it, you know. Um, and it was just because that was the last year of middle school, I didn't have to worry about it in high school because it was a totally different group of kids. But things like that we have to live with or have had to live with, the kids now are dealing with that, and plus some because of social media. So we started talking about that a few weeks ago, months ago. So this is an entirely different dynamic. Jordy, let me ask you this, and Deshaun, feel free to chime in as far as from what your daughters told you. Like, at this juncture in the 21st century, considering the political climate, the pandemic that's adding pressure for the teens, and this feelings or their feelings of isolation, are you feeling even more misunderstood sometimes? What are you hearing from your peers, um, that the parents need to know about how they can help their teens better?
Well, what from school wise, from like pandemic wise, I felt like since y'all really don't know what technology is, y'all couldn't really help us with like work, or we'd be like the Wi-Fi's down. You'd be like, I don't know what to do. It's like type stuff. You can't really help each other. It's just like it's chaos. It's just chaos. And it's like my auntie gave me that year to like because my grades was kind of bad, and we blamed it on COVID. She said that was my only year that I get an excuse on my grades, but I thank God for COVID for that because my grades were trash. But it's just like I won't say y'all don't understand, but sometimes y'all just don't know how to help us at all. So, like, say for instance, I'm so sleepy. Say for instance, like math now is different how y'all taught math when y'all was literally. So like if we go to y'all and be like, I don't know what to do. What is this algebra problem? They're like, I don't know. It's not how we was taught because the teachers wanted how they was taught. I don't know if that makes sense. I thought that was a good explanation, um, but yeah, it's just this pandemic. Y'all didn't really know how to help us with everything virtual, everything different, everything was online. Zoom classes, y'all didn't know what really Zoom was, so we had to all get into it. So that's from a teen point of view because I go to my auntie and be like, I don't know what to do. I don't know. You better call. It was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah, it was with, but what we want you guys to have mercy on us because this whole COVID thing was new to us too. So it was hard to comfort, to encourage, to try and run in and help when nobody was expecting things to happen as they were. And you are right. My daughter, she was a 2020 baby. So it was so many things that she was not able, to be a part of because of COVID. But also her grades were different from what I've ever seen in her life. So, like your aunt, I'm like, we're gonna give you a pass for this, but you show them what you're working with when you get
Yeah,
back.
but I used to have really good grades. Really
Yes,
good.
yeah, that was it was totally different. But yeah, all this Zoom and girl, you said math. Listen,
Look, I don't even have a middle schooler or a high schooler, and I'm like, he's in elementary, and I'm just like, what is going
y'all putting numbers and stuff on the side and the front and the back and all this extra stuff is like, the monkey pushing a computer gif. That's me all the time. I'm like, no, I'm confused. So I'm apologizing to you and every other teen on behalf of those of us that were parents, aunties, whoever the village was. Sorry, we couldn't help y'all. We wanted to though. We
Yeah,
did, but
my
it was like
Pinterest.
you was definitely gonna be lost if I got into it.
She'd be like, go log in on Pinterest and ask how to do it.
Ask anybody. Go ask.
YouTubing it.
Somebody's homeschooling. God bless. God bless.
Yes.
If I had to do that, I'm
I'm gonna bring up one of our mentors, Miss Kim. She works in the school system, so I want her to just kind of share. Hi, Kim.
Hi guys.
She can give another perspective. So these is multiple perspectives today of being in the classroom with the kids and what you've seen and the effects that the pandemic had on the kids and some of the highs and the lows that takes place actually in the school system.
For us in this, well, I'm in high school. So for us, it was really an emotional take because we weren't able to be there hands on with our students. So we realized how bad the situations were at home, if that makes sense, when we went into the pandemic because they needed us more than they thought they ever needed us. The students did. They didn't think they needed us as much as they did, but they were calling on us once that pandemic hit. But it was more so of an emotional toll it took on us and those students. Academic wise, they went. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Odyssey, where some of our students were literally failing, and they told us, well, if they pass 5 classes within one semester, we cannot fail them. We'll give them a C and we'll pass them along. If that makes any sense, how does that make any sense? Because then we're not readying them for college. So then it was time for ACTs, and they weren't able to take the ACTs. They weren't able to take the ASVAB test because we have our ROTC program. So they weren't able to take all of those things, and it pushed them back. Some of those kids couldn't afford scholarship. To pay for the scholarships, the applications. That's something we normally pay for. A lot of them didn't go to college this year. So we had to double back from 2020. We had to double back at the beginning of this year to go back and get those students who weren't able to go to college, pay for those applications and try to get them in college. So it's taken a toll even on teachers, like you said. It's new to us too. It was a new. I mean, I became Amazon, like Google. I was delivering books and computers and food, and I realized that it took a toll on our parents too. So yeah, it was pretty harsh.
And that's an interesting thing to bring up because I don't, with all the pressures that the students were dealing with, the parents were dealing with their own pressures too. And that's the reality.
Yeah.
Um, and so we're going to show some more clippings towards the end of this, but we're going to do I want us to do a series dealing with this because I want to show some more clips that came from the segments that they did that were very, very good. That I thought was really um, helpful. And so one of them was dealing with it's prevalent now when it comes to the political climate dealing with racism. Um, and Jared, you can speak to this when it comes to how do some of the youth cope when it comes to racism in school? Is it something that you think that a lot of teens are prepared for, or we need to do a better job with
Well,
equipping?
let's see. They taught me how I can deal with it, but some teens doesn't know what racism is, or how what's the negative side of being black or Hispanic or Latino or different race other than white. And some kids haven't had that talk yet. And so they're going into school dealing with racism and they don't know how to do it. But for me personally, the first time I dealt with it, I didn't know how to do it. I just stood there. It was like, oh, that's how life is. And it's just like this life is just, it is what it is at this point, because you can't really change how people look at you or how people think about you or anything. I remember the first time I did with it, I was sitting next to not say anything, I was sitting next to a white lady, and she moved over, like moved over, and I felt kind of offended because I didn't do nothing to her. I just sat there. And so like I was crying. I didn't know how to cope with it until I went home, and that's when my auntie gave me a breakdown of what's going on and why stuff is happening. So I just feel like that some teens doesn't haven't had that conversation, and some parents need to have that conversation with their teens before they reach high school, because a lot of racism is going to happen in high school. Trust me, it happened my freshman year and it's not okay. But it's just like we need to have that conversation before high school, not during high school, because they will know how to cope with them, because each person has their different coping skills, but they will know how to cope with, oh, they said something, so let me walk away. But some people is different. Some people might react. You never know. But I just feel like parents need to have that conversation with teens to like get them prepared for the real world. I don't know if that makes sense, but
What was your experience, Deshaun, with your daughter with it?
Okay, well, because my daughter, they were in a predominantly white school district in California, Orange County. They were in Rossmore. It was old, you know. But what we were trying to do, of course, is trying to put them in a situation where they would have access to the absolute most in resources and things like that to set them up for college. But some of her experience were some of the things that she shared with me that I did on the video. And on the video, I was a mother as a parent, and I'm sitting there blowing and trying to look and whatever. If you see that video, I'm trying to keep you know, the amps down or something, because I'm from Compton. I'm ready to react even now. And even at the time when my daughter tells me, okay, well, this person passed, we were in history, and it was Black History Month, and they passed a picture of someone that was hanging from a tree, and they said, "Is this your family member?" or something like that. What? Okay. So, and a lot of things my daughter didn't tell me until much later. And she told me when she was in the first grade, she was in elementary school, she had on shorts, and some kids said, "Why are your legs so dark or so dirty?" or something like that. Now, see, at home, she had a total different thing because at home, we're teaching her, there's nothing wrong with us. This is who we are. This is how we are. You're going to go out there. You may not see a lot of people that look like you, but it's like, we're trying to put enough in her so we felt like she would be okay in at church and in our own village and our own support group and stuff like that. We were around her and trying to take care of her. But when she went to school, it was a whole different monster. And for her to tell me those things, but a lot of those things, like I said, she told me much later because she felt like I was gone.
Yeah.
And I did. When I did find out stuff, I was up at that school. The principal knew me very well. I did confront some kids. There's a lot of stuff. I think that the limitations is out now, so probably okay. I know you're mandated for, but it was just
Oh Lord.
I was a parent first. So to hear these things, and my goal was I want to confront this kid because I want your parent to come to the school. I want to sit across from your parent because they need to know what their kid, whatever they're teaching their kid, this is what. And I didn't teach mine to walk away and stuff like that necessarily, but it was just her personality was different from her sister's. Her sister dealt with things differently. You got one that was mild and whatever. And she didn't tell me a lot of things either, but she handled it differently. So it didn't take the same type of effect. But dealing with some of those things and hearing, some of the ongoing things that she had to deal with, even though it was a later time when she told me, that broke my heart. That and it enraged me as well. So it was like a little bipolar situation going on inside of me because I want to do this and not in a negative way. This personality was showing this one to do because that's my baby. But yeah, you guys have to deal with, and we did too. I remember, a black girl growing up in Compton. This guy called me a black Hershey bar, and that hurt my feelings so much, But it was just, how do you deal with that? How do you respond to that? And we're taught, I mean, I don't know if we're taught, but for some reason we take those things negatively. Black Hershey bar, yeah, that's how I am now. But for our kids to deal with that stuff and the way that it's bombarded everywhere, because she was cyber bullied as well. How do we deal with it? We keep going up to the school. We keep showing up. We keep trying to show her we're supported. We keep trying to reach her, but it's just trying to find out what's going to connect where she knows I am supported. I don't have to wear this stuff on my sleeve, as a point where it's negative. Being Black is not negative. They try to tell us that. And they put so many things, Black sleep, Black sheep, Black widow, all these negative things. And then the white things are pure and clean and, that's bright and that's whatever. So I'm like, I'm not gonna allow you to say dark and everything Black and all that kind of stuff is negative and you call me Black. Because then you said I'm negative. You know what I mean? So it's to hear that stuff and to try to equip a child, a middle school age mind, that was very difficult. But we kept trying.
Yeah, that's real talk. Because kindergarten, my son was faced with it, and it was interesting because I ended up having to make up a song just dealing with his skin color because of what he was seeing versus what he was seeing around him versus what he was seeing in the mirror. Now he's more comfortable with it, but it was interesting of just having to deal with it that early. And you made some good points because as parents, we're going to have our reactions now. And of course, and Jerry probably can attest to this, is that for them it may be embarrassing to have the parent, show up, wanting to meet up a kid. And this is the true story. Actually, it was a video clip that I saw on I want to say maybe Instagram. A parent had her son with her and went to a door to and was started to knock on the door, was one in the front, confront the parent and the kid that was bullying her son. But needless to say, after about 5 minutes, she found out she was at the wrong door.
Mhm.
And the kid all this time was trying to tell her he was at the wrong door. She kept saying, I got this. You need to just shut up, sit down. He was like, but mom. And she was going off and knocking on the door. You better come outside and face this. And then finally he said, ma'am, my son don't have the same name that you're sharing. And he said, Mom, that's what I've been trying to tell you all along. So kind of find that little kid stayed around the corner somewhere else. And so she was embarrassed, needless to say, trying to fix it up. But it was kind of humorous watching that. But these are real scenarios.
Because I am that parent.
Yeah, exactly.
My auntie is too. She is that parent. She will literally go up there and be like, I heard this happened and this needs to go there. Yeah.
It's sorry. I'm always honest. I'm always
Sometimes it's embarrassing because I remember this one time at Kaufman. I went to school and she came up to the school and went off. I was like, can you calm down? You're making a scene. We can hear you from down the hall. It was embarrassing. But it's love. So
yes, because our baby is hurt. Our baby, when it was presented, we took on how that was. And some things she told me, she was in tears. So she's in tears. I'm in tears. I'm also enraged. I'm telling you, several things going on at the same time here. And then it's like, I want to take action. So yeah, may not be the correct action. But I'm like, I got to do something. So yeah, y'all pray for us, parents. We just want to protect y'all from everything.
That makes a lot of sense because people crazy. People is crazy.
Yeah, we can go crazy. We can go. We love Jesus and stuff. We can go. And that's what our kids are, people we love. Y'all better bring Dr. Stevens back on here because she knows me. But I wanted to.
Mute, man.
I know I keep doing that. This is what I want. I wanted us to keep it real and honest because these are just real life situations that we're dealing with on a regular basis. Because if we don't keep it real, we end up with a generation that they don't get the raw truth. And so if we don't get the raw truth, they end up in a place of isolation all over again. They can be as bubbly as they want to be, the most beautiful child in the world, the most outgoing child in the world. But if we're not honest with them, there's going to be a form of isolation that goes with it because mentally they're not going to be prepared and ready, and they're going to be all by themselves.
Right. And that is what stigma stomping is about. And like when you were saying where you can't talk to your mom, you talk to your sister or whoever, it's like talk to somebody. The thing is to not hold it all in your head by yourself, isolating yourself. Sometimes first of all, our mind is going with us everywhere we go. Our own mind is going with us everywhere. So if we have these things that we feel like we can't say to this person, or we can't say because they're going to treat us different, or our parents are going to see us, or whatever, it's like tell somebody, and hopefully you will get to a point of comfort. And you can see whether that's something that's just, it's okay, or something. Sometimes talking to someone else, they can maybe go to your mom or your parent or whoever your guardian is for you to let them know. And I'm hoping that in schools, that's what we get. You see the kid that's isolated. You see the people that's dealing with stuff on their own. Try to befriend that person. I've always gone for the underdog. Try and start a relationship or a conversation, or maybe like with my shirts, it's like it'll have something on it, and hopefully a person can see that and identify with that. And then in identifying with that, they can start a conversation with that person. And maybe with that, you can take it to, hopefully you have a mental health care worker in the school. And then in evaluating that person, maybe they can talk to, you can see, does this need to go to the parent? Because a lot of times the parents, they really don't know just how far their child may be sinking into different things that are not mentally healthy for them. And it's got to stop. I just
Yeah.
want it to go away.
I feel like sometimes, like, we have so much stuff built inside that we got to the point where that's all it's going to go and it's not going to come out, and I have no one else to talk to. That's like for me when I was a kid, I was going through a whole lot of stuff, and I didn't want to talk to nobody about it because one, I didn't have nobody to talk to, or I didn't know how to like bring it out or without like saying certain things because I didn't want to get in trouble. Like, no. And like one, it's your parent, so you don't want to be too, specific to your parent.
Mhm.
So it's just like, yeah, it's like a boundary that you have to set with your parent. But
Mhm.
like versus your parent, it's your sister. You say everything to your sister, but to your parent, it's just like a no. So it's just like for me, I had to learn to like open up more, talk to more people, and like not build everything inside me. Because if I would have still built everything inside me, I would have still been depressed, still had anxiety, would have been lonely, not been active or anything. And I remember Dr. Latanya, she helped me talk more to people, talk more to my auntie, talk more to my dad, for them to understand what was going on inside me so they can help me and help me succeed in my life to help me grow better. So I feel like if some people have that person to talk to, it can be your sibling, it can be anybody, it can be your best friend, it can be your friend, but make sure your best friend and your friend you can actually trust. Like they won't go out and tell anybody your business. Just make sure you trust that person with your business, but don't like spill all the business. Just like bits and pieces of the business. Pretty much.
Walking in truth is freedom.
Yeah.
It is. And yeah, when it gets to a point where it's wrestling, you're wrestling with it, and you feel like it's diminishing you or it's hurting, or like you walking with a dark cloud over your head, please talk to somebody. That's what I was saying.
That's good stuff. I'm like listening. So I'm like typing in chat. Also, for people who want that quote, walking in truth is freedom.
This is, this is about love, acceptance, healing, and freedom. That's what stigma stomping is about. Because so many people are prisoners of their very own mind. And it's not just teenagers, it's not just middle schoolers. It goes up and up and up. And there's a lot of seniors that are generations, my mom's generation, because they were taught suppress all of that. That stuff manifests. The body always keeps score, and it physically manifests in your body. The years of suppression and holding all of that stuff in. I really believe that. And I believe that God let me see from my middle school daughter, from my brother who was a gang member and always, down to come and help with anybody, whatever was going on. He's going to show up, you need me to roll down that or whatever. All of that stuff. He was that, but he was also struggling with anxiety and depression and PTSD, but he didn't feel comfortable or safe enough to be able to say, hey, I'm that, but I have these issues as well. So he's projecting one thing, but he's struggling with something else. And it's like, I gotta go. I'm like, no, we can talk about it. We're still gonna love you. We're still gonna be here for you, but we've been taught to hold that in. You can't tell, you can't, whatever. And those stigmas are robbing us of a quality of life. Our truth is free. When the Bible said the truth shall make you free, it really does. And then people have to take our truth because judgment is for God. That's it.
That's good.
That's good.
That's real good. So stigma stumping y'all. If you want to follow her, of course you can do it on Instagram and Facebook. And we're gonna, if this is okay, Deshaun, can we have you back next month to
Yeah.
continue this? Our host said yes. It's about so. I mean, you're obligated now.
Yeah.
Sure, sure, sis, because I love you and you know that I'm terrified. There's a whole lot of things going on. Being 100, being on the camera, I'm trying to get used to that. But there's a whole lot of stuff going in, Jerry. I'm telling you, I'm not going to take that.
I love
I'm trying
you.
to fight my own anxiety right now. Okay. back is sweating because I'm 50 something. Things 50 something. All right. But
But this is crucial information, and I want to show some more clips of with you and your daughter sharing and discussing the impacts of this because we our kids are getting ready to go back to school. So I think continuous this discussion is so all the parents that's out there, and put it in the chat box or send some hearts up so she'll know we need this discussion to continue. So if you want this discussion to continue, please let us know. Just put it in the chat box. And again, we're talking about things that youth face in school. So we've been talking about the depression, and just the different things, racism, the political climate, and how it impacts the students inside of the school in the classroom. Jared, you've done a fantabulous job, you know, of giving the teens perspective because some of our teens bailed out today. So, yeah, we'll talk to them later. Also, we got parents saying yes. So we're going to continue this dialogue and discussion. And I want to so for those that are just chiming in, I want to set the room and just replay the clip that you may have missed from earlier because I think it's a crucial discussion. This is just the beginning. We'll show more next time. So join us next month. We'll be right back here with the discussion. So let me just play a little clip of what we showed at the beginning so you understand the context from where we were coming from today. So please stand by.
I think a lot of times in most kids, when it starts to set in is middle school, because that's when you're getting a lot of the experience, a lot of the, that's when you're setting your foundation. So I think that's when I started to accept that my confidence wasn't going to go up because everyone around me looks, this certain way. And that kind of drove me into presenting myself as the token black kid, anything that could be taken to fit in because it would be better than feeling left out or anything like that. So if that meant accepting the slurs, the stereotypes, then it was worth it because it's enough to fit in. And then that would, set the stage for then what would become depression and what would become low self-esteem because it would be I was keeping myself down without even knowing it. And then I think I'm not sure where did the anxiety come from? Genetics?
Could be.
It was just always there. It was just always frantic, or I overthink everything to the gods, or it's hard to sleep, or I'm fidgeting all the time. It's just, I feel like that's just always been there. Thank you. That was from the get-go. But I think definitely the depression is something that I subconsciously kept digging myself deeper into because it was a survival tactic to fit in around the environment that I was in. I think
That was, I just saw your facial expression. And looking back, it looked like it was very triggering for one. Um, and to see that, and I know her, she's gorgeous, but your appearance does not, it does not protect you. Yeah, it just doesn't. So, Jared, I salute you on today as one of our teens and representing teens on today. And I salute you, Mom, Mr. Sean, dear friend. Thank you for bringing stigma stumping to Generation Prodigy. So I was showing, so for anybody who want to see or experience stigma stumping in any kind of way, check out the website. They have t-shirts. I love the t-shirt. So tell us about your t-shirt before we close.
Okay, well, this is just a definition T, and it's just, telling what stigma stomping is refusing to remain silent, crushing the power of stigmas through open conversations. My daughter in that clip was wearing, you couldn't see it, but it said pretty and still struggling, because there are a lot of absolutely beautiful people who feel beautiful and all that, but still their mind is with them everywhere. And there are some things and experiences that have caused them to still struggle with anxiety and depression. People feel like, well, you're pretty, or you this, or you that, so you're not going to have an issue. Absolutely not true. My husband is a pastor. He has one. It says preaching and still struggling, because he is a man of God, a doctor, a PhD, all that kind of stuff. But he still has had some issues with anxiety and with depression and with not feeling like he's enough. My sister is part of the praise and worship team. Sometimes people who are out praising and everything in front of you and trying to lead the worship and bring the people in to the presence of the Lord, you don't know what happened the week before they got there. You don't know what happened on their way to church. And sometimes just the different things that's going on in your mind, it's just like you're all of that stuff, but you still can deal with anxiety, isolation, low self-esteem, depression, feeling like a problem with guilt or shame or self-worth is it's huge. And to find someone who doesn't, or who does not know anyone who's dealing with that, that's the exception, because it hits us everywhere. And so my brand is for everybody. I want us all, so that these young people, in the video before it starts, as a little kid, she's 3 years old and she's stomping on the word stigma. And it's like, for the younger generations, my goal is for it to be normalized. So they'll talk about this stuff quick, soon, when it onsets, so that hopefully we can get them the help and the tools that they need, so that it doesn't grow into something where they're, teenager and young adult and all of that, and still walking around feeling like, but this is in my mind and I can't tell anybody. And it's just imprisonment. No, the truth will make us free. Our truth is our freedom. We're going to talk about it, get the help we need. We still love Jesus. We're still preachers. We're still praying. We're still praisers. We're still pretty, all that. And some people I wrote paid, because there's some people who make very good money, but you're finding out a lot more that people are still dealing with the same issues, these same things. And we need help. And we need to get the help. We need to pray and get the help we need. So t-shirts are for everybody. And it's like, it's to encourage a conversation. Hopefully someone will see it and ask a question, and it could go from there. So that's the goal. Touch the world, change the world. Love, acceptance, healing, and freedom. That's my goal.
And stump the mess out of stigma.
Mess out of stigma. Make it go away.
So I placed your logo up so people can see it. So when they see it, they can identify which one it is. Yeah. So stumping stigma, literally.
Stigma
stumping. Stigma stumping. And the boot, I'm trying.
Okay. It's just the stigma. See that boot on there? That's the Doc Martin.
Stigma stumping.
Doc Martin. Okay. Yeah.
Stigma stumping. I was with the boot stumping stigma. So
she says she needs a shirt. Stigmastomping.com. Or you can go to that. It's on Instagram, Facebook, and also if you just type it in, it'll go straight to the store, the Shopify store, stigmastomping.com.
I'll place it in the chat box so everybody can see it too.
Okay. For a shirt. Yep, she'll give me a shirt.
Yes.
I started with the church group, but there's a lot more ideas that God has given me. But I started with us church girls, us church folks. But we're some of the front lines of those who are struggling, and we won't say nothing. Yeah.
But we're definitely going to continue this discussion. So we hope that you're available with us next month, because we want to show some more clips. We're going to have a deeper dive this year and deal with some of the things that these kids are really facing, because what we don't want is a repeat of last year. Last year was a hot mess for everybody, and let's just keep it honest and keep it real. So to be thrown into the throat for those who were homeschooling, God bless you, Miss Juanita. We saw your post in the chat, but who was homeschooling, and to have to face being the teacher. And for those who were in the throes of the corporation and in the marketplace, and then have to sacrifice time out of the day trying to juggle and do work, home, life at the same time, and play the teacher, and then teachers who are missing their students, they created a whole lesson plan for the year. Everything is just messed up. So the teachers were frustrated, and then they're trying to communicate, and then coming into the reality that a lot of students didn't even have internet, they didn't have devices, and still had to be educated while their parents were at work. So a lot of things that were taking place. So the kids were, I mean, all they had was devices. Ones that had devices, all they had was their connection with their friends through devices. And they were still open up to the challenges that come with that. So we have a lot to take into consideration and a lot of discussions to have. So thank you so much for having that start discussion with us. And so everybody said, like, we got to have you back. They said, yes, please. Yes. Do you need to come back, Mr. Sean?
You need to come back. You need to come back.
Yeah, so let Nico know if she's available and if she's interested, she's more than welcome to join us too. And we're gonna tell our teens to come on back. We're back in the flow. And yeah, they left Jerry by herself today.
Right, it's just so disrespectful.
You were amazing, guys. You were amazing, Jerry. You were amazing. Hopefully they'll come.
You held it down. You held it down. You represented the teens well.
Yeah.
There's privileges.
Me, but it's fine.
Yeah, there are privileges for being hanging in there. So thank you for being our host today. Thank you for being our guest mentor today, Mr. Sean. And we thank him for for being with us earlier today. And so thank you, parents, for chiming in and supporting us in what we do. So hopefully when this pandemic dies down, we'll be back live again. The teens are saying we need to come back in person.
Thank you, Jesus. Yes, we do. No.
So that's their preference. They like the intimate setting of being able to share their heart in person in that confidential setting. So I'll let Jerry Day talk about what Teen Talk is like when we're live. And if you're not in the city of Kansas City, we can help you set up a Generation Prodigy Teen Talk in your area, whether it's in a school. We do go to schools and set up Teen Talk communities. So at your church, in your school, this allows the youth to be, I'll let her say that part, but we have counselors and people that are trained to be able to help deal with the issues that the teens face. So Jerry, you can share your experience on behalf of the teens.
Are you talking about like when we're in the building? Or
yes.
Like, well, from my experience is we all sit down in a little circle, a little Capri Suns and like little snacks, and then we just like let our emotions out and like we give, if somebody has a problem, we give a solution, or we all, it's just like a family. It's a big family that we all come together to help each other, which is very special because I really liked Circle Time and Capri Suns and snacks and outside. It was just so much fun. It's just so much fun, like feeling the energy. Everybody is engaged, or everybody is saying their stuff, and how everybody is like, it's not that we're behind the computer and we can't like, I mean, it's cool, but like we can't feel the energy. But we're all in one group. We can feel each other's pain. Like some people, last time, everybody cried. Everybody. We all cried. Like we had pizza and we cried. I don't know if you remember that, but we cried. It's like, but it was powerful. That's how powerful the family is. So I want to go back to that because I felt like we was all loved by Dr. Latanya, and she carried us on her back, everything. So I really appreciate that because you can feel the joy, you can feel the pain, you can feel the passion that these teens have, and you can feel what they're going through. Like you can imagine what they're going through and be like, what if that was me? Like it's wonderful. I'll say it's wonderful.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
You're so expressive. I love it. I'm like, we need to have you do commercials.
Cheers.
I love it.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And there are perks too that comes with this. We do have an entire program. So feel free to check us out at generationprodigy.org, and where you can get more information about the program. So if you have a child in middle school or high school, feel free to check us out. Click on the link. Again, that's generationprodigy.org. This is where you can just get more information. We have tours every year. We missed 2020 because of the pandemic, but we did a brief one this year where we went to Jeff City. We did the HBCU tour, nature and technology with the virtual reality. So we are engaged and still moving forward. So but if no one have any more questions, any parents if that are out there, you have any more questions or thoughts? Yes. So thank you. So this so we have our mentor behind the scenes. She's like she wants a t-shirt. Miss Kim said she wants a t-shirt. So yeah, stigmastumping.com. I'm going to repost it again so everybody has the information. Stigmastumping.com.
Yeah, yeah.
You can get your shirt there. And visit generationprodigy.org for more information about our Teen Talk program. So we have one once a month. So we'll post it and let you know when we're having our next one. So until next time, thank you, Mr. Sean, once again. Thank you, Ms. Jordan. Any last words?
No, I just want to say thank you for your time. I really felt like you really want to change the world. I felt like you really want to change how young people think and how we should express more. I really felt that today, and I appreciate your word. I appreciate your presence. I appreciate your how you want to change the world because this world is kind of crazy.
Mhm.
I appreciate it. I really do because it will help me during school year because I start next week. So I remember you. I'm like, she just said, yeah. So I really appreciate you, and I know teens out there really listening. Like, yeah, it's hard out here in this life. Like, I just, I really appreciate you. I really do.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, so much. And it's my goal to be able to sit in front of young people and older people and talk about this because we need to change the world. And I can't do it without your help. So change agents. I We all need to do it. We all need to do it and help somebody.
Yes, ma'am. It
Freedom.
takes a village to raise one. Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We do.
That's what my auntie says all the time. It takes a village to raise you. You are a lot. I'm like, ouch. It hurt.
Yeah.
Don't be hurt.
It hurt a little bit. I was like, ouch. Am I really that bad? Like, dang.
Oh no, I got
No.
2 days. It's hard. It's like that's a lot. It's a lot trying to, because some of the things that happen, we don't know either. It's like on the job training, and no two are the same. They're just not. So what worked in one instance, it just will not work in the other. So y'all have mercy on us. Okay. We love y'all. Remember that. Our motive is always love.
Yeah, literally.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, thank you, everybody, once again. And until next month, we'll post again when we're going to go live one more time. And we're going to continue this discussion with Stigma Stumping and the founder, Deshaun Radcliffe. So thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for your patience out there. For parents, thank you for chiming in and allow your teens to watch us as well. So until next time, we are just saying thank you once again. We love y'all. Yes. And we appreciate y'all so much. So we're going to chime out for now. Until next time, we'll see you again with GP Teen Talk.